Okay, thank you for everyone for joining us today. We're really excited to have you here, along with Destiny and Ebony, who are going to present for us today, coming from LinkedIn. We're going to cover a couple topics about networking. We also have Sarah Burnett here, one of our career development interns at the UGA Career Center, and I'm Whitney Denny. I work with students studying in the College of Journalism and Mass Communication. So we're excited to kind of dive into some of these topics.
All right, so hi everyone. Welcome to our session where we're going to talk a little bit about building your professional brand on LinkedIn. I am Destiny McLean. I actually graduated from UGA in 2018, and I started at LinkedIn as an intern. I interned at LinkedIn when I was a junior in college, so that was 2017. I then was offered a full-time opportunity. I came back where I went through a program to become a recruiter. And then after completing that program, I liked the world of recruiting, but I decided that I wanted to be behind the scenes. So then I moved into a program management role, and I'm currently a program manager where I oversee learning and development for our recruiting org. So that's a little bit about my journey at LinkedIn, high level. I'll hand it over to Ebony to talk a little bit about her journey.
Thanks, Des. Hi, everyone. My name's Ebony Medius, and I went to UGA. Well, not went, but I graduated UGA class of 2017. Started at LinkedIn in 2017 as well as a diversity coordinator, and made my way up the food chain to become a program manager on the inclusion recruiting team. And basically, what I do is I oversee the strategy of our diversity recruiting efforts at LinkedIn with a focus on biz recruiting.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you, Eb. Well, now that you know a little bit about us, let's talk about LinkedIn. Let's talk about our mission at LinkedIn specifically. So our mission is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And our vision, our North Star, is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And so how are we bringing that to life? We're bringing that to life through our LinkedIn platform as one way. Anyway, so just to put some numbers to it, and I think I'm having a bit of a connection issue here, so let me know if you cannot hear me. But to put some numbers to it, we have over 650 million members at this point. These are 2019 stats, I believe. So many members on our platform. We have 30 million companies plus that you can engage with, that you can follow on our platform. With open roles and open opportunity. And then we have 90,000 plus schools where you can connect with alumni, you can connect with your classmates. So there's a wealth of knowledge and an ample opportunity for you to network and stay connected to people through our platform. All right, so today we're gonna cover 4 ways to build your professional brand on LinkedIn. So we'll start with what we call a mini rock your profile session. We'll talk about 6 key steps to make sure you're bringing your profile to that next level. We'll then go into ways you can connect virtually. We'll talk about thought leadership and what that means. And then lastly, we'll talk about getting hired. We all want to find that opportunity after graduating from the University of Georgia. So we'll talk a little bit about that near the end, all right? So let's go into the first step when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. And that's adding a photo. It might sound simple. It might sound like something, oh, I already have that covered. But I think this is something that people don't really realize how important it is. I know for a fact that you get 21 times more profile views when you have a professional headshot here. So what does professional headshot mean? That means that you want to make sure that your background is neutral. You want to make sure that it's something that doesn't have a lot going on in the background. You want to make sure that you're wearing something that is work or professionally appropriate. You want to make sure that you're not wearing any type of jewelry that's distracting. You want to make sure that headshot is indeed a headshot. You'll be surprised as to how many profiles I view and it's a full body photo. And I'm like, headshot, meaning mid-chest area up. We want to see you. So those are just a few tips on how to make sure that you have an appropriate photo for that headshot. The next step to making sure that your profile is as up to par is the summary. This is one of the first things that many recruiters will look at when they come to your profile. So what do you want to include in this section? You want to include what you're passionate about. You want to include what motivates you. You also want to show a little bit of your personality. This is what's going to make you stand out. This is what's going to help help you like stand out and push you to that next level when you're being compared to other candidates. So you want to show your personality. And again, apologies if I'm having any connection issues. It looks like I'm lagging just a little bit. So, but yeah, with that summary, just make sure that it is who you are, and it tells the recruiter what you are trying to do and what your overall goal is. So step 3, this is all about education. You want to make sure that you have your coursework here. What are you studying at UGA? You want to make sure that that is front and center on the education section of your profile. You want to include any certificates that you're doing. For instance, myself, I did the entrepreneurship certificate at UGA. You want to include that on your profile. Another thing that some people sometimes miss is any online courses that you're taking outside of UGA would be great to include too. So for instance, I know a lot of you may be taking LinkedIn Learning courses right now, or maybe using other platforms to just improve your skills and make sure that you're studying whatever it is you're looking to learn. So include those on your profile. I know for a fact that if you use LinkedIn Learning, there is an option once you've completed a course to add that certificate directly to your LinkedIn. So make sure that you're adding any type of learning, any type of coursework to your profile. And then lastly, I would highlight activities, including any student leadership positions that you hold. And then any type of orgs or groups that you're a part of related to your coursework, make sure that that is represented on your LinkedIn profile. So those are the first 3 steps. I'm going to hand it off to Eb, and she's going to take the last 3 steps to making sure you rock your profile.
Thanks, Des. All right, so as we move into step 4, this is where I think the meat of your profile should be, and make sure you're really reflecting this experience, which is your work experience. Just a stat below is profiles with work experience are 10 times more likely to get messaged. And what that means is instead of you applying to those roles, they're more than likely to have a recruiter reach out to you instead of you trying to get the attention of the recruiter. So how can we think about this as college students? Well, think about broadly, what does work mean? Like, it can be paid, it can be unpaid, it can be internships, it can be part-time, it can be full-time, it can be also church and community contributions as well. I think overall, just think about what are you contributing at that company or at that organization, and what you are actually doing on that job. So making sure that you provide any description of your overall contributions to the work at that company. And so you can do that by explaining some of the wins and the metrics that you might have had. You can describe some of the projects that you worked on as well. And so this really fleshes out the detail of what you're capable of and what you're doing in those roles. Another thing that you can do is address some gaps in jobs. So, we're students, we're not always working all the time. Sometimes we might study abroad, sometimes we might intern. And so it's always good to just add everything. If you are studying abroad, add that to your profile as something in the interim, so that as recruiters, as they're looking to see your profiles, they can see what you're doing. And that provides a rich experience and perspective for recruiters to see, like, oh, this person has global experience, or they're exposed to, various cultures. And that's something that's very dynamic right now with us being in very much a virtual world and just essentially connected over the internet to everyone. And so some other areas that you all can do and think about is also global internships. Include those too as well at any of your campus work. And so, if you're a DA, if you're an RA, I was an RA, list all of those things. I know you might think like, oh, this may not, provide much value, but, being an RA allowed me to gain program management skills. I didn't know I was doing that at the time, but for me, planning effectively programs and going through the steps of the program management phase, I was able to translate that into experience that I had. So really look and see what you're doing in your organizations, your sororities, as well as work internships that you can list. And so as we move on to step 5, Some other things to include that was kind of mentioned in step 4 was really adding that volunteer experience and any additional accomplishments that you might have. And so volunteer experience, I know we have a plethora of them at UGA that you can add. So any work that you're doing with those organizations, make sure you're listing them and describing what you're doing, whether you're a committee chair or a member or how many hours you're contributing to this organization. It's always good to know because it shows that you're a rounded and a balanced student. Other things you can include is your accomplishments. So any courses, scholarship, grants, honors, awards that you're getting within, your time at UGA, make sure you reflect them. That's really important because it shows that on your profile that you're an overachiever, that you can exceed goals, and that you're being recognized for your hard work. Other things that you can also include is some of your interests. And so if there's groups on LinkedIn that you want to join, or if there's followers such as CEOs or other popular LinkedIn influencers, you have the opportunity to express that on your profile. And that gives people a kind of gauge of what you want to be in, whether it's, finance, whether it's Wall Street, whether it's the telecommunication world, tech, people can kind of gauge that from looking at your interests on your profile. And then other things that you can put on there is certified language courses and additional languages that are spoken. And so this is kind of speaking to, if you know any programming language, definitely highlight that on your profile because that shows how you're dynamic in that area. But then additionally, if there's other languages that you speak. And so this isn't just languages that you're getting degrees in, but if this is your native tongue, included. If this is a language you have learned, included, and even include up to your proficiency, even if it's beginner, intermediate, or advanced. It's always good just to highlight all of your skill sets going in because you never know who might be looking for that. All right, and then we're going to move to the last one, which is step 6. And so in step 6, we're going to be focusing on adding our skills and our recommendations to our profiles. And so this stat that we've pulled from our company is students who add 5 or more skills receive up to 7 times more profile views. So just a little backhand secret is when recruiters are going out and they're sourcing, which is basically them searching for candidates for their roles, they put in certain skills that they're looking for, as well as titles that students might have held, or if they're organizations they're a part of. And so this is another area for you to really make sure that you come up on their searches when you add your skills that you have gained throughout college. And so this really allows for them to find you and once again reach out to you. And so for the recommendation area, I would advise you all to get recs from people who have managed you, if you have past internships, or if you're in organizations who can say from an advisor, like, what capacity have you done, and kind of shed light on what, you do in your role and your capacity to really give you that nice boost in recommendation. This also allows for recruiters and other people who are considering you for roles in future employment to kind of get to know you a little bit better through other people and not have to wait till, I'm gonna have to call their recs to see who they are and how they are, but essentially you're giving them to them before, so when they look you up on LinkedIn, they have that information available. And then some other areas or other people you can consider getting recommendations from are your professors, teachers, as well. And like I said, advisors in your organizations. If you have coaches from intramural sports, I would say look to tap into all of them to provide those recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. And with that, I will hand it off to Des to give you all a nice little recap of the Rock Your Profile. And then we're going to move on into ways to build your professional brand on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thanks, Eb. All right, so let's just go back over the 6 steps that we went through when it comes to rocking your profile. The first one was making sure you have that professional profile photo. Second, making sure that your summary speaks to who you are and what you're looking to do. Next, make sure you include all your education. That includes coursework outside of UGA. Let's talk about work experience. Make sure that you include all work experience, the smallest job to even the largest internship. Next, you want to include volunteer experience. This really speaks to what you are focused on outside of school and how you're able to manage your time. And then the last thing is skills and recommendations. Again, this is something that recruiters really look to understand who you are and what you bring to the table. So a few things you don't want to forget. You want to speak in first person when you are filling out these sections of your profile. You want to use your authentic voice. You want to tell your story. Make sure it's unique to you. And then you want to keep it updated. This means maybe going through a few times each semester just to make sure you've added anything new, and making sure that any recruiter who comes to your profile knows what you've been up to. And then last, share rich media when possible. So this means any videos that you're creating for school, any projects or PowerPoints that you are able to share. The more you have on your profile to bring color to what you are doing and what you're working on, the better. Okay, so that is our Rock Your Profile section. We will now move into 4 ways to build your professional brand on LinkedIn. So there are 3 areas that we want to focus on here. The first is connection. All right, so first with connection, you want to build and engage with your network. So how are you able to do this? One way is connecting with alumni. I've definitely utilized the alumni network for UGA on LinkedIn in multiple ways. I've shared opportunity with the alumni network. I've attended events through the alumni network. So you want to make sure you're staying connected. Even before you graduate, you can connect with alumni through the LinkedIn platform. The next thing I want to highlight is LinkedIn groups. There are so many LinkedIn groups that you can join. I know I was a marketing major, so I'm in a lot of marketing related groups. It's a great way to connect with people who are in roles that were of interest to me. And it's also a great way just to understand what that industry is like and what's going on, what's relevant. The next thing I would highlight is following companies you're interested in. This sounds simple, but recruiters pay attention to this. When I was recruiting, I definitely paid attention to this. This shows that you're doing your homework, you're doing your research, you're trying to understand what that company is about and how that company operates. The next thing I would recommend is requesting virtual coffee chats. I know this is tough sometimes, reaching out to strangers, but you will be surprised as to how many people are willing to help you. Even if it's just a 15-minute chat, I would recommend that you reach out to people who are in roles that you're interested in learning more about. It's something I definitely did before even starting my internship. As I mentioned before, I was a marketing major and I now work in HR. So I had a lot to learn. I was like, okay, let me figure out a way that I can connect with people so that I can somewhat understand what I'm walking into before I even start my internship. So just would recommend that you give it a try if you aren't already. And then the last one, engage with content by adding comments or reactions to other posts. So if you aren't as comfortable posting on LinkedIn, a good way to continue building your network and continue connecting with people is to write on the post that they've already put out there. Let them know your thoughts. Let them know what you like about it. Let them know that you actually like their content. People love that as well. So yeah, that's a great way to connect with people. And that could be a way that you move into that virtual coffee chat. You start to engage with their content and then you request their time, okay? So those are just a few ways that you can continue to build your network on LinkedIn and engage with those that are already a part of your network, okay? So now I'm gonna hand it off to Ev, and she's gonna talk about becoming a thought leader.
Thanks, Des. All right, so Destiny shared with you all how you can get some traction and engagement on the site. And so I'm going to share with you how you can become a thought leader. And so essentially becoming a thought leader is standing within your own area of expertise. So for instance, I'm in HR, so a lot of my thoughts will come from being with a background in HR. So the same as well with the US students, as you all are developing your craft and becoming more senior in your status as you go up each year at UGA, you know, you're essentially becoming a thought leader in your own right within your own major. And so how you can establish that on LinkedIn is by sharing some posts or articles or comment on issues that resonate really well with their professional brand. And so what this does is it also establishes your expertise and reinforces your value. And so recruiters can see like, oh, they are, pretty up to date with what's going on, say for instance, in marketing, and they have a good grasp and a good thought process around it, like we'll love to sit there and learn more and like have a recruiter phone screen with them. It also tells your colleagues in your network what you're working on. And so if you're working on, say like a marketing project in your internship, you can kind of share some of the processes or some of the research that you've done to get to that point in your marketing, or a reflection piece on it as well. And so that lets other people know as you're adding them into your network that, oh, they're distinguished themselves as, a top marketer, that they have the background and skills for what it takes to, go to the next level. And so additionally, you can also, invite others to collaborate with you and collectively learn about things. And so if you see learning articles, or if you see like new cool posts, you have the option to also share that as well and put your thoughts on it in a summary on top as well. And that allows people to like, comment, and share your thoughts as well on those posts. And so that one I feel like is not as much pressure because you aren't doing the full writing per se, like with the full article, but you get to kind of share your thoughts along with what the opinion was shared in the article that you're resharing now to your network. And so one thing that I will just highlight as you are becoming a thought leader and you're sharing and you're engaging with posts is that, you should be very aware of what you're posting on all social media platforms, but especially on LinkedIn, just because, it can be traced, like as you're sharing this with your network, say, I'm not a part of Destiny's network, but I was still able to see a comment that might have been potentially harmful, even though me and her are not connected. And so you just never know where your post might land and how it gets shared. This is for even LinkedIn, but even on other social media channels. And so just being really careful and thoughtful that you're keeping your thoughts pretty concise, keeping them pretty on a professional level, and that this is something that if somebody was to take a screenshot that you would be okay with, that it'll be reflected and kind of stick with you forever. And so as we're going through this, think about this, like really like not the gravity of it, but just think about that as you are formulating your posts and your articles and your comments on issues, because as we're seeing now, like, it's very easy to look things up and kind of find people by that. But all in all, that shouldn't scare you all by establishing, your voice and what you are looking to gain expertise in. And so I highly encourage you all to share. Our editorial team is always looking to highlight people. And for instance, students are highlighted. We have professionals. We have people who aren't even in professionals. And so you just never know how you might get highlighted and who might reach out to you. So just keep that in mind. And with that, we will shift to how we are exploring jobs on the platform.
Awesome. So exploring jobs and setting your search preferences. There are a lot of things that you can set within your job search that are like add-ons. For instance, you can search specific titles, but you can also search keywords. You can search location, things like that. So make sure that you are utilizing those features. And you can also set job alerts. So for instance, if you are interested in marketing roles specifically, you can set an alert when any marketing role for like a specific company comes up. You will get an email or a notification saying that there's a new marketing role for LinkedIn up now. You can apply. Okay, so make sure that you're using that when you are searching for opportunity and you're searching for roles on the LinkedIn platform. All right. And so campus recruiting info. Ebony, take it away.
All right. So I know me and Destiny shared a lot of information, hopefully that you found very helpful when it comes to making your LinkedIn profile in its most optimal way that it can be, and how you can utilize that profile to reach out to others on the platform, to network with coffee chats, or even also we have a feature where you can find mentors on there as well, and look for other alums who are working in the companies that you are interested in, as well as maybe in some of the backgrounds too that you can connect with. But Ev, in your search that you're looking, and by chance we hope we sold you on LinkedIn, if you want to find your home here, please check out some of our open roles at our career site for students. So at careers.linkedin.com/students, and you get to learn a little bit more about our LinkedIn culture and some of the open roles and programs that we have for students who are starting in their first role after college.
And one thing to note there, I know we have a limited amount of open roles at the moment, but you will see more roles open up over the next few months. So check back regularly.